Blog Talk Radio.
And in those days, there were giants in the land, and the sons of the angels of God looked upon the daughters of men and found them fair, and took of them wives, and their sons became of old great men of renown. So they have been mixing with us on a genetic level since the time of Enoch and Ezekiel's will.
Here on Earth we're intrigued by the sun, moon, and stars, and imagine there's got to be planets like ours. Some conceive of a face on the surface of Mars, so in need of a meaning and purpose we lost. That indeed they believe that these might be our gods, or that maybe with time we'll do right and evolve and eventually reach what they seek and then solve all the problems of man. But they really don't know that they fall in the works of our hands are but just filthy rags. So we travel the lands to dig up our past. Time elapses and with it are much of the facts. Some imagine that God came in alien craft. They react in this way, they're so desperate for meaning and purpose. But satanic service, they know that they have evil motives. Am I making you nervous? I'm just scratching the surface. The times from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near. See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near. In the blink of an eye, all believers will be raptured. Anyone left receives a mark or the capture. This leader will arise, claim his origins are alien, possessed by Satan on the side of the Nephilim. Profess those who left held us back from evolving, and now that they're gone, we'll solve all of Earth's problems. The worship of any one God will be halted, evolving to gods and ourselves be exalted. They'll play on these lines, and in time they'll devise and arrive at a plan that will help hypnotize all the ones left behind, the spiritually blind. He's stolen their souls, now he's stealing their minds. It's already started, we're seeing the signs. Just study the word, prophecies all aligned. They'll chop off the heads of all those who fight at one earth, one world. Aren't you excited? The signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near. See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near. Where will you be in the year 2012? Are they casting a spell they're not ready to tell? It's time to reveal what they tried to keep veiled. Pure evil they hail and they sell it so well. He fell from the heavenly realms where he dwelled, a once beautiful angel that tried to rebel. Expelled from the light into darkness and hell, now a serpent and snake with reptilian scale. He wears a disguise with angelic wings and mimics the truth with a lie so obscene. He always repeats the same thing he told Eve, that you'll be supreme, a king or a queen, that you can evolve to an enlightened being, a god of your own that can do anything. He feeds on our souls with this fraudulent scheme in so many ways, but it's all just the same. See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near. See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning, the message is clear. Heed the warning, the time draws near.
Why hide yourself with, creating UFO crafts and things like that? Why that deception if that's indeed what's going on?
The creatures figured out that there was one way that they could frighten mankind, and that is to present themselves as technologically superior beings from physical UFOs.
Why would they want to abduct human beings?
UFO abduction might not be caused by physical occupants, but from creatures living in perhaps what we would call another dimension.
Posing as occupants.
Yes, the same type of interfering, harassing, paraphysical creature in every culture worldwide.
Welcome, readers, listeners, and viewers from across America and around the world. I'm honored to have you with us. We have a very interesting show lined up for you today, November 14th. It's 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we give a shout-out to all the listeners joining us from Italy, to hear about this incredible story that my friend Luca Scantamburlo has been on the forefront of. And for those that don't know about this story, basically a whistleblower claiming to be a former astronaut on a secret mission flown by NASA and the Air Force Space Command to the moon in August of 1976. This alleged mission was titled Apollo 20 and was a joint U.S. and Soviet secret mission that followed just over a year the joint Apollo-Soyuz 1975 mission, which is well documented and part of the public domain. The Apollo 20 mission is a secret mission that most people do not know about, but recently there has been some interesting revelations come forth, and some very interesting video has also come forth on this story. And Luca has been bringing forth this information for a number of years now, and we're blessed to have him with us today for an hour and a half to look into the deeper aspects of this story and what it means for the world. And so the Apollo 20 mission supposedly filmed on the dark side of the moon a very large cigar-shaped extraterrestrial vehicle, which had been supposedly, again, wrecked on the moon's surface for quite a number of years and for quite a long time. And this wreckage is also verified by official NASA photos from not only the Apollo 15 mission, but the Apollo 17 mission. And both of those have photos, official NASA photos that you can still go to on the web and find them and look at them for yourself to get more confirmation on this story. But I do want to give a shout out before we bring on Luca to our veterans. We just had Veterans Day here, and we want to honor our veterans across the world for fighting for our freedoms, defending our nation, and supporting those values which we, as lovers of the Constitution and lovers of true American values, wish to uphold and share with the world. And so now I bring forward Luca Scantamburlo. Luca, can you say hello to the listening audience and give us a brief bio of all the things that you're doing?
Okay. Good evening, Zane. Thank you very much for your very, very important and very clear introduction to the story, which is very controversial, and it is a jungle posed by truth and false material and false information. But I am very convinced that among all the material there are kernels of truth.
Yes, and we'll be talking about those things as well, because Luca has some recent revelations that have come up about this. And Luca, you just did a documentary also in Italy, right? Also for the listening audience, just so you know, we're going to be talking slow during the course of this interview because of the bandwidth problem that Luca has in Italy. He doesn't have a super fast connection, and so some of the things that he says may come out muffled, and so we're going to try to bring it all to you slow and clear. And if we need to, we will go back and bring forward the same information over again just to make sure we bring this out with clarity. Okay, go ahead, Luca.
Okay, thank you very much, Zane. So first of all, I want to say to everybody that the whistleblowers that are on the front line of this story, we are talking about secret space missions and taking place during the 70s of the last century. And we are talking about secret missions carried out by United States and Soviet Union. The whistleblowers, the true insiders, are retired AFB a YouTube user, which became later on Rever.com user, and another whistleblower, which is the second one, is Moonwalker 1966 Delta. There are two others, and the second one gave us more clues, more information, and he has corrected some aspects of the first testimony granted us by retired AFB. The first insider, retired AFB, told me and told everybody that he would have been Apollo 20 commander, and he was employed, according to him, by United States Air Force, not by NASA. The second one, Moonwalker 1966 Delta, claimed to be a former NASA astronaut, and he was, according to his testimony, Apollo 19 commander. About the Air Force Space Command, as mentioned before to the listeners, I want to say that, of course, during the 70s, this agency, this organization, under the Department of Defense, was not born yet. If I remember, the Air Force Space Command was born in 1982. And the reason you mentioned the Air Force Space Command is maybe because there is the Air Force Space Command logo in the introduction of one of the several videos that were uploaded on YouTube during the 2007 year. Do you remember that?
Luca, the last part of what you said kind of cut out, but let me, for those that don't know anything about this story, let me catch them up to what we're speaking about. For those that don't know, sometime during the summer of 2007, I believe it was, a guy named William Rutledge, who was supposedly the commander, the pilot and the commander of the Apollo 20 mission, he uploaded several videos to YouTube, which have stirred quite a controversy. And Luca, being intrigued, actually questioned him about the videos he released. And Luca secured an interview with him through the general messages of YouTube. And in the process of conducting the interviews with William Rutledge, he met another whistleblower who was Moonwalker 1966 Delta, who claims to be the commander of the Apollo 19 mission that lost telemetry and had a problem, and the mission had to be aborted. But Luca is going to bring forth the information that these two whistleblowers claim to know about as far as the Apollo 19 and 20 missions. And in the video, just to describe two of the videos, one of the videos that William Rutledge uploaded shows it documents them going from the light side of the moon into the dark side of the moon, and then all of a sudden you see a craft, an artificial looking craft, and the video zooms in on that craft, and then there's dialogue between Vandenberg and the astronauts as far as what they see. Now, William Rutledge claims that they were able to land by this craft and to go into it, and also to go into two angular shaped craft that are supposed to be real close to this cigar shaped craft. And Luca also
Just
has
one
information about that. Go ahead, Luca.
Just one of them, not both of them.
Oh, just one of them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can you...
Of course.
Go ahead, Luca.
Tell me. No, of course, if the mission was 7 days long, they could not have enough time, to do everything.
Right.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, actually we can. Your mic is not cutting out, so that's really good. Let me tell them real quick, Luca, about the Mona Lisa video as well, too. Because William Rutledge claims that not only did they go into the cigar-shaped craft, but they went into one of the triangular-shaped craft and found an actual body in an animated state. And supposedly one of the other videos shows this female body in the lunar module being taken from the moon and brought back to the Earth. And so, Luca, please catch us up with recent revelations, anything else that you've learned that you'd like to share with us.
Okay. The footage about the presumed creature are two, and one of them shows a presumed astronaut. In this case, we have a presumed image of William Rutledge, Apollo 19 commander, on board the LAM Phoenix. And you have this creature on a hammock inside the LAM. And through the LAM windows, you can see on the lunar surface a Soviet probe, a lunar code. And on the horizon, you can see a structure. And it looks like an artificial structure. About this footage, I want to say very clearly that almost 100%, almost without a doubt, we can say that it is a sort of manipulation video, a reconstruction of something, because one of my viewers of my recent intervention during an important television program here in Italy wrote me a few lines, and he paid attention to the video, and he found out that at a certain point there is a few frames where you can see the legs of this astronaut like suspended. So it is a clue that almost without a doubt there is a sort of post-production, a layer of post-production video inserted inside the video. Of course, at the same time, we have to recognize that all the features inside the LAM are very coherent with the genuine, the true LAM, a lunar excursions module constructed by Grumman during the last century. And even the lunar surface and the lunar code, the Soviet probe on the lunar surface, look like very realistic. This is what I have to say. At the same time, you have maybe a false video with a creature who looks like something very simple, a humanoid, and then you have the story told us by William Rutledge and confirmed by Moonwalker 1966 Delta. The target of the secret mission was Station 1 and Station 2. Station 1 was a base, an ancient base the rest of the space, the moon, the side of the moon, and Station 2, if I remember, was a huge spaceship, the mothership. And also, there were two triangles, and they were able to go inside, to get into one of the triangular objects. And the very important information that we have is that the Italian journalist who made an interview with me a few weeks ago found out, watching the recent documentary by Jose Escamilla, Moon Rising, she found out inside the documentary, during one of the trailers of the documentary, she found out a triangular object indicated by Jose Escamilla on the base of the pictures made by the Clementine mission in 1994, sent by the Department of Defense. So this is one of the most important clues on this story.
Okay, let's get this straight here, Luca. All right, you're saying now this lady, who is this lady?
Her name is Sabrina Pieragostini, and she has written to me a few lines. She told me to pay attention to the documentary by Escamilla because of what I told you.
Okay, for the listening audience that may have missed that because it wasn't clear, some of what Luca was saying had got cut off. He is saying that after in Italy recently a documentary had come out covering this story where Luca was interviewed. In the release of this documentary, a woman that happened to have watched it noticed that in recent release Clementine photos, which, you know, we just had the Clementine go up and supposedly survey and photograph the entirety of the moon for, I believe it was for the military. But in those surveyed photos, the woman is saying that there is confirmation that Clementine also took photos which confirm that there is this particular triangular-shaped craft at those coordinates. And Luca has these coordinates too, so people can, I mean, it's not a big secret, and it's not like they can move it. So, okay, please continue, Luca.
Thank you very much. To summarize what I told you, you can interrupt me at any time you like. The important thing to point out is, are we talking about the same zone, the same latitude and longitude? Because if that image, which shows a triangular object indicated by Escamilla on the moon surface, is the same zone on the far side of the moon, to the north of Itzhak D crater, close to the Fermi world plane, if the zone is the same, if the position of the object is the same, so in this case we have a very strong confirmation of the story told us by William Rutledge during the year 2007 and 1966 Delta.
Can you, Luca, I know that recently you have had more recent revelations from Moonwalker Delta 1966 Delta, and that you haven't released who he is, but you have confirmed that he indeed was an astronaut. Can you tell us in it is you think these two whistleblowers have credibility and that this story truly has massive impact and implications for the world.
I feel that his testimony is a testimony step by step. What does it mean? First of all, he was in charge of commander. He was commander of the Apollo 19, but William Rutledge, retired AFB, told us that the Apollo 19 crew was dead because of the incident.
Right.
So, months later, the first William Rutledge's testimony during the spring and summer 2007. Months later, in year 2008, Moonwalker 1966 Delta came out from the woods with several videos to confirm Rutledge's story, but also to integrate aspect. He said to me and to the public that he is not dead, he is alive. The Apollo 19 crew survived thanks to the great job made by Houston. And this is another very important aspect of the story. The mission was a United States Air Force mission with the collaboration of the Soviets and the NASA assistance. So when they had the problem in the space, they transferred the communication to Houston, because in Houston there was the LAM on the ground where the backup crew of the Apollo 19 could simulate the emergency situation.
Hold on. Repeat that last sentence, Luca, because you cut out.
Yes, of course. I said that the Apollo 19 commander confirmed that the Apollo 19 incident did take place, as William Rutledge told us. But the crew survived, and he was very impressed, very surprised, because William Rutledge told us that they were dead. It is not true, of course. And he said, yes, the incident took place, but we were able to come back. This is the, how do you say, the abstract of the story. Because of the job made by the Apollo 19 backup crew, but not in Vandenberg Air Force Base, but in Houston, where there was the land on the ground side facility, I suppose, where the astronaut could simulate the emergency situation to help the Apollo 19 crew in the space.
Do you think, and I know to ask you this only because I've been following this story for so long, but do you think that maybe William Rutledge did not know that the Apollo 19 crew had survived because they disappeared? You know, Alexia disappeared in 1975, and Stephanie also disappeared, and John died of cancer in 1982. Perhaps he wasn't familiar that they had survived the mission.
Okay, just a moment. John Swigert, who was a very famous astronaut, was a member of the Apollo 19 crew, but the original crew was cancelled.
Right.
So we do not know the other members of the Apollo 19 crew. I mean, I know the commander, the name, the surname. I have never spread his name and surname so far. I
Right.
don't know the other names. The first Apollo 19 crew was canceled a few weeks before the launch. One of the members was the woman Stephanie Ellis,
Right.
mentioned by William Rutledge, and Moonwalker 1966 Delta explained to me that she was a member of the crew, as William Rutledge told me, but she had an incident, maybe during a flight, I think, or during a test. And also he headed a very important information. Maybe she was talking too much about secret mission.
Right. Because she died in a training accident, from what we are told. I want to read something from your interview with Moonwalker Delta. It says, what you asked him, what were your mission targets as the Apollo 19 crew? And for the listening audience, this will make you a little more familiar with this story. Moonwalker 1966 Delta said, in response to this question, our main targets were one of the triangular objects located south of the main mothership, the mothership herself, and the moon base located southwest of the mothership. Our landing site was the same as Apollo 20. The Soviets had launched an SL-12 2 months before our mission, and Luna 21 landed on the west side of the crater. Apollo 20 used a Lunacode 2 as a radio beacon, which we see in the video, to land exactly on the second largest rock stare not far from Luna 21. Rutledge and Leonov made an extensive use of this Lunacode 2 due to its highly sophisticated equipment necessary for this kind of a mission, and not only the 4 panoramic telephotometers, but also the X-ray scope combined with laser telemeter and the radiation detector to verify the possible radiations emitted by the ship and the base. Okay, that particular quote, that particular part of the interview talks about a moon base. Now we know, Luca, that the moon city, the video about the moon city is a fake, that there has been, the audio is not the audio that's supposed to go with that, and there's something fishy about all that. But he does mention here that there is a base on the moon that we did not create, that they explored. Can you tell us about that, or what you know about that?
Okay. I cannot hear you very well, so I understood only the first part of the first question. Yes, the video of the city is a fake, and maybe also the video of the Mona Lisa Ibe is a fake, but the fact that the video of the city is a fake does not mean that such a structure on the far side of the moon is not there.
Right.
First of all, we have to understand that when you have a whistleblower in the field of ufology and of secret space exploration, most of the times you have false and authentic videos mixed together, and you have to find out the truth with your efforts, with your mind and your the fact very important is that the facts very important are the information contained inside the two interviews, because since the beginning, retired FB Apollo 20 commander told us about triangular objects on the moon. On the official NASA pictures, I have found out what I think is one of them because of the information given me by Moonwalker 1966 Delta, the Apollo 19 commander. He gave me, and also to the public, to the general public, the latitude and the longitude of the two presumed triangular objects. And in one of the official NASA pictures taken by Apollo astronauts during former missions, Apollo 15, I have found out a sort of triangular form, but it was not enough. So the Apollo 19 commander, during the interview, and even during our private contacts, and the interview came from our private contact, is another information. Use the NASA Whirlwind software. Find out what there is on the moon surface, on the far side of the moon, using those latitude and longitude coordinates. And I did it, and I found a green, brilliant object. But what Sabrina Peragostini, the Italian journalist, employed by one of the major Italian TV networks, Italia Uno, it belongs to Mediaset, the group by Silvio Berlusconi. She found out it's very important.
Hold on, Luca, say that again. You were cutting in and out. Say that last sentence again.
That using the NASA Whirlwind software suggested to me by Apollo 19 commander was not enough. Now, because of what Sabrina Pieragostini, the Italian journalist, found out in the Jose Escamilla documentary Moon Rising, we have a strong evidence, because of the Clementine mission, that on the far side of the moon there are triangular objects.
Okay,
so
let me
confirmation.
Absolutely. Let me summarize this again for the listening audience, Luca, because some of what you were saying was cutting in and out, and let me give clarity to this. All right, first I'm going to read the part of the interview that Luca is talking about. He said that when he interviewed Moonwalker 1966 Delta, the Apollo 19 commander, he was given specific coordinates of these craft on the moon, and that he was able to use a software called the NASA Whirlwind software to not only locate but to see the green metallic brilliance of this particular object that Moonwalker Delta 1966 had given him the codes for. So I'm going to read this question. Luca asked Moonwalker 1966 Delta in his interview, "What can you tell me about the origin of the alien spacecraft resting on the backside of the moon, the cigar-shaped object and the two triangular ones? Is there any relationship among them? And can you give me once again, as you have already done in a private message, the lunar coordinates of the triangular objects never before revealed?" I want to write these coordinates down, but Moonwalker 1966 Delta said in his interview, quote, "The origin of the two objects, the mothership and the alien base, were of the same materials and same age. We think they have been shot down during a sort of lunar Pearl Harbor. The base had been completely destroyed, and the mothership and the two spacecraft shot down during what looks like an emergency takeoff." This is what William Rutledge and Alexei Leonov, the famous Russian cosmonaut, thought too, is what he says. As I previously answered in our private message, the two objects are clearly visible in these particular NASA photos. AS15-P-9625 and AS15-P-9630 in the upper side of the pic and just right of the mothership at coordinates, these are lunar coordinates now, 18.7 degrees south, dash 116.92 degrees east, and 18.31 degrees south, and 117.48 degrees east. He said in final comment, "You can notice they are absolutely identical in their triangular shapes." Now, Luca said that this particular quote that Moonwalker 1966 Delta told him was confirmed by the lady that contacted him after this recent interview. This documentary was released in Italy, and she said that there are photos taken by the 1994 Clementine mission, which was a military probe, a moon probe set up there to survey and photograph the entirety of the moon's surface, and that in those photos, confirmation was given as to these craft still being there at those coordinates that we just brought to you. Luca, please continue.
Yes, she just pointed out in the documentary by Escamilla. We have this evidence. Of course, we are not sure if the zone is the same one. We should ask Jose Escamilla because he didn't put any kind of reference which can help us to understand if we are seeing the same zone on the far side of the moon. But the one thing is, there is you, and it is very strong because the material comes from a government work, the Clementine mission, not a NASA mission, but a DOD mission. And we have an evidence of triangular objects on the far side of the moon, I suppose. I don't think that the zone showed inside the documentary is the near side of the moon, because most of the anomalies are on the far side of the moon.
Right, right. In fact, I have seen videos, and again, I have no way of confirming any of this, but I have seen videos of a particular tower structure also on the far side, the dark side of the moon. But, again, how will we really ever know unless we could get up there ourselves? But can you tell us, Luca, why you think... Sure, go ahead, please.
Okay. You can do me the question after a few words that I want to say.
Yes, no problem.
The there are some frames inside the same documentary, Moon Rising, in which you can see a cigar-shaped object. So this is another very, very strong evidence. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you, we know that there's disinformation as part of this story, that for some reason they're not giving it to us clearly. Now, I know that there's a push for disclosure, that there's this whole disclosure project, and that many people, like governments of the world, the Brazilians, the Canadians, the British, have released their files, their official military files on not only the UFO phenomena, but just unexplainable phenomena in particular. I wanted to ask you, do you think that they are getting ready for official disclosure, and that at some point in the near future that the world will become aware of all these things? Luca, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. We do, but the problem is that I didn't hear what you said because your question was cut off.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to ask you if you thought that with the disclosure project, if the world was soon to become aware of this particular presence and this unexplainable phenomena.
Okay, let me tell you what I think. I think that the recent space missions carried out by China, Japan, and India are embarrassing. I think the intelligence circles, the parts of the government that are aware of an extraterrestrial presence on the moon.
Absolutely.
So that's why maybe in the last years we have much more attention to the moon, to the discoveries on the moon, etc., etc.
Let me ask you this, Luca. We know that NASA has recently bombed the moon, and they say it's just to test for water particles. Do you believe that story, or do you think that there's something more to it than what they're telling us?
Well, every time that there is, an issue like this, of course, it is normal to think that there are other aspects never revealed and secret. What I think is that the official missions, every time there are classified missions, and Apollo 19 and 20, if there are kernels of truth in the controversial story, are part of a classified space program.
Absolutely. There's definitely more going on than what they're telling us, especially if we did not even know about the Apollo 19 and 20 missions. Go ahead, Luca.
Yes, let me tell you a couple of things. In
Please.
the last month, on the Moonwalker 1966 Delta, Moonwalker 1966 Delta, on his account on YouTube, there has been a conversation among YouTube users, and the Apollo-19. Very interesting. And a couple of days ago, one YouTube user talking about the United States ships which were in charge to pick the astronauts up in the ocean at the missions. Did you hear me?
Say that clearly. I believe, because your mic is going in and out, Luca, and at some point I will definitely have to get you on so that everybody can hear you clearly. But I believe what you said is that a YouTube user in conversation over these videos actually found information about these ships that picked up the pilots of the Apollo 1920 mission. Is that what you said? Or please repeat yourself.
That's right. Yes,
okay.
That's right. He asked Apollo 19 commander what not him the names of the aircraft carriers in charge to pick the astronauts up in the oceans, and he had the direct answer.
Wow, so that's further confirmation. So now we know that they actually were picked up.
Ships.
Okay.
Yes. The name of the ships are the well-known ships. One of them is the USS Enterprise, or Enterprise, I don't know the pronunciation, you can correct me.
No, that's fine, you did
Go
good.
ahead. Okay. The other is the USS John Fitzgerald Kennedy. One of them was in charge for the Apollo 19 crew. The USS John Fitzgerald Kennedy aircraft carrier. The other one, the USS Enterprise, was in charge, for the end of the mission of the Apollo 20.
Okay. Well, that is great news there, because here we have further confirmation that indeed these missions took place. So we know that if they were made secret, something certainly had to be going on. And it would seem to me, Luca, that this would give more credence to not only what William Rutledge was saying, but also to the interview and the testimony of Moonwalker 1966 Delta. Because if he knew the names of those ships, that's information you just can't make up. So, can you tell us one other thing, Luca? There was confirmation. There was confirmation. You received also confirmation about this story from the above top secret forum. Some whistleblower had made some comments about his dad being part of maybe the Vandenberg crew. I can't remember exactly, but can you tell us about that confirmation?
Yes, I will tell you something about this, and then a couple of things more, very important, and then I think that we can conclude the conversation because of the audio problems. Your question is very important. On the forum of the above top secret, the American website, very famous, on August 14, 2008, an anonymous user made a comment about the story. He was not convinced about all the story, but he had very important memories from his father, and he just wanted to have the public, to have the people, and to summarize, it was son of a National Reconnaissance Office employer, and when his father was dying, he had a weight on his chest, and he wanted to tell the truth to his son, and he told him a very incredible story, very similar to the Apollo 19 and 20 story. He didn't name Apollo 20, Apollo 19. He didn't talk about alien creatures carried on the Earth from the moon, but he confirmed the presence on the moon of a huge cigar-shaped object, very ancient, a very spacecraft. He confirmed there was an international joint space mission among United States and Soviet Union, and he added a few information more. He said that the President of the United States, Nixon, was one of the leaders in charge for the secret mission and other things. He didn't use the code name Apollo 19, Apollo 20, but most of his story is very similar to what we have.
Right, and it seemed like there's confirmation coming from many different places. And for myself, I'm a student of Scripture, and I always go by what this one particular scripture in Matthew chapter 8, where it says, out of the mouths of 2 or 3 witnesses shall the truth be established. And so as an investigative journalist like you, Luca, I always look for those seemingly unconnected confirmations to get the real story. And it seems like you have done that so well with this, and definitely you are the pioneer on this story, Luca, and I want to honor you for your work and for standing strong with, trying to bring this to light and to have more people look at it. Before, I know, Luca, that we have audio problems, and we're going to have Luca join us again at some point in the near future. But I wanted to ask you, Luca, because how has this story affected your life personally? Because I know that you've had even threats on your life and against your family, and you really had to stand strong on this to bring this truth. And you're a true pioneer, and we appreciate your resolve to truth.
Okay, thank you very much for your nice words. You are a gentleman. Most of the problems that I had in the past, I think I had because of my research on the myth of Nibiru and on Planet X.
Right.
What I want to say is I have to give my I did my job by myself, but in many occasions some people helped me. Even most of them are my readers from all over the world, from South America. There is an engineer who told me about Moonwalker 1966 Delta in Italy. I have a reader of my articles who found out another important piece of information. His name is Paolo Rosati, and he found out on a Russian website an official picture taken, I think, by him of the Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov, where he is assigned a gadget, a picture, a memorial picture of the Apollo-Soyuz test project taken place in July 1975. And in this picture, you have the union of the American Soviet flag and the union of the two flags is very similar, is perfectly identical to the American Soviet flags inside the Apollo capsule, the Apollo 20 capsule, constellation. Did you hear me? Can you summarize for the public, please?
Yes. Okay. Luca is saying that there was a logo, an image of a joint U.S.-Soviet mission, that this logo was found in one of the videos, but that one of the readers of his work also found this particular logo on a Russian website. I'm not sure what particular website, but that also confirmed other aspects of the logo that was available in the videos that were uploaded by William Rutledge. Is that correct, Luca, what I was saying?
Yes, it is correct. The name of the website is www.ussr-airspace.com by Alex Pachenko.
Hold on, say that again, Luca, because you were cutting out again. Say that, please, again, slowly.
Yes, the name of the website is www.ussr-airspace.com by Alex Pachenko.
Okay, great. Well, Luca, please, can you join us maybe in a month or so when we can get the audio situated better so that we can cover more of this story and bring out further revelations?
Yes, of course. I want to thank you again. I want to say one more thing, just a few seconds, if I am
please.
allowed. Can I do it?
Yes, please. And can you give out your website information and your contact information as well?
Yes, of course. I do it. I thank the general public, your listeners. I'm very sorry because of the audio problems. I want to say this story, the Apollo 1920, is very controversial. Many times I have written that there are kernels of truth, in my opinion, surrounded by, very, very controversial footage. There are some false videos. I think there are some reasons because at the same time as possible. If this story is not true, if this story is just a hoax, can you explain to me why the famous astronaut Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon during the Apollo mission in 1969, during a celebration, an anniversary of the first landing on the moon in 1994, during a celebration of that, the anniversary, the 25th anniversary of that important achievement, the important step for the human history, why Neil Armstrong, in front of the public, with the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, behind him, talked about a protected layer of the truth that maybe one day someone will remove? Do you understand? Can you summarize for everybody?
Say that last part one more time. You were talking about Neil Armstrong. I didn't catch what he had said and when he had said it. Can you repeat that part one more time, Luca?
Of course. In 1994, there was a celebration, an anniversary of the first landing on the moon, and Neil Armstrong
Yes.
told the general public during the conference about a protective layer of the truth.
Right.
That one day someone will remove. Very cryptic message.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Luca is saying that during the anniversary of the first moon landing, Neil Armstrong made a cryptic statement in which he said that at some point there will be that somebody will remove the veil that is hiding the truth over all of these things. Say one more time exactly what he said, Luca, so I can repeat it precisely.
Yes. Yes, the meaning is what you said is correct.
Okay.
And the words used by Armstrong were a protective layer of the truth, if I remember. Protective layer of the truth. But he didn't say nothing more.
Right, or what the truth was. So Neil Armstrong, on the anniversary of the first landing on the moon, said that the protective layer on the truth at some point shall be revealed, and that we then, as a community and as a world, will be shocked with what is underlying that veil of protection. Luca, can you give us your website information? And also, I know people can contact you there through your website. So can you give us that before you leave, sir? And we do appreciate all your time.
Yes, of course. My website is www.angelismariti.it. Angelis Mariti, ANGELISMARITI.it. angelismariti.it, and there is a homepage in English.
Yes. Luca's work and homepage are both in English and Italian. Luca, we do appreciate it. I'm going to continue on with the story, and I'm actually going to read some from your articles, and we'll also take calls if anybody would like to call in to comment about this story. We'll give you the call-in number. It is 646. Oh, I'm sorry, 646-929-0937. If you'd like to comment about any of this information, please do call. And Luca, I think maybe in about a month, would that be enough time for you, and that we could get you back on?
Of course. I have to fix the problems that I have, and I ask all the listeners that, of course, have many doubts and they cannot believe the story. They have to understand with their own forces. They have to do their homework to understand the story. But I ask everybody to read the transcription made by me with the collaboration of one of my readers, the transcription, the Apollo 19 incident. Did you understand? Did you hear me?
Yes, that you came in clear.
Yeah, because of the transcription of the Apollo 19 radio dialogue among the Apollo 19 crew and mission control. It's very important because from that we can have strong evidence that the mission took place, did take place indeed.
Right, absolutely. Luca said to please read his transcription of the Apollo 19 incident, because in that that transcription there is further confirmation that the Apollo 19 mission indeed did take place, and that there was a problem with the telemetry as revealed to him by Moonwalker 1966 Delta, and also William Rutledge in his interview with Luca had also made mention that problem with the Apollo 19 mission and that it had to be aborted, and that was the reason why the Apollo 20 mission went forward, and that they were the ones that were actually the crew that landed there near the city and near these ships and near this area to actually have a chance to explore it. The Apollo 19 crew, they were heading in that direction to do the things that Apollo 20 completed, but that they were not able to complete their journey or their mission. And so please do go to Luca Scantamburlo's website and check out his work. All of us have the videos saved. You can go to fallenangels.tv, www.fallenangels.tv, to learn about, to see the videos and make your own decision about this. And please do your own research. We ask you never, never, never to believe anything that we say or to just take our word for it. But please go out there and do your own homework, do your own research, and either confirm or nullify this story for your own truth. Okay. Luca, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the listening audience? Oh, and just so you know, Luca, all the people in the chat room are thanking you for bringing this story out and also praying for you and your family and wishing you well and safety. They said that you are a very brave man. Matter of fact, I'll read exactly what a couple of them have said. But he says that Luca Scantamburlo, my friend Kevin Unterberger, an Italian journalist of tremendous heart and intelligence, is a courageous and independent UFO researcher who took it upon himself to publicize the events surrounding a fellow Italian journalist, Cristoforo Barbato, a few years ago. And you can actually find a video done by Project Camelot about Luca Scantamburlo, Planet X, and Nibiru. The other guy, Astro Intuitive, in the chat room, Luca, he says, "May you always be protected. You are very brave, and I hope to be this brave." So, Luca, we thank you, and please, if you have any parting words for the listening audience, feel free to share.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure to stay with you and give my greetings to all your friends and colleagues. I am very embarrassed. In these last years, I received many emails, many letters from everywhere. Most of them helped me a lot not to give up. And I had difficult moments, and I want to ask everybody, as you told me before and as you told the general public, think with your head, do your own research, do your homework, try to understand with your forces. Thank you.
Yes, great, good words, Luca. We thank you, sir, and you're welcome to stay on the line if you'd like, Luca, and listen in. We've only actually got 17 more minutes. I was going to read some of your testimony just to give a little bit more background information to this story so that others can go to your website and read these testimonies in full. And again, for the list, go ahead, Luca.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You can do a very nice thing if you like, if you have time. You can read from the website because it summarizes the story. There is the transcription of the Apollo 19 incident.
Okay, let me go to that now. All right, I am at your website, and you're talking about the Apollo 19. I'm looking at all your articles here. Which article was it?
It is the last article on my website.
Okay, the scientific search for a missing planet? No, that's...
No. It's on my homepage, the radio dialogue. on my homepage.
Okay, the radio dialogue. All right, I will read this. And then if you'd like to just listen in, Luca, and if you want to comment, we've been hearing you a little bit better. So, but I do hope to bring you on when we have clearer audio. But this is what Luca is talking about. This is the Apollo 19 incident, the radio dialogue. He says, Apollo 19, ? Why not, if Apollo 18 did take place? In the past, I wrote an article for my website in which I reminded that there is an official NASA webpage with an indication that Apollo-Soyuz test project, the ASTP, was a mission involving Soyuz 19 and the Apollo 18 capsules. That page can be found at the following link, http://www.hq.nasa.gov/Apollo/PAO/history/welcome.html. Continuing on, the caption, Apollo 18 identifies who the United States crew members of the ASTP were: Thomas P. Stafford, Vance D. Brand, Donald K. Deke Slayton, and although we have no evidence in historical record that Apollo 18 was followed by the Apollo 19 mission, due to it being secretive, William Rutledge gave a precise definition for the ASTP, and it was correct, in spite of the fact that this information is not well known by the general public. To whom it may concern, and to all the readers of my website, Luca says, I remind that after retired AFB, who is supposedly William Rutledge, after his testimony, another whistleblower of the controversial Apollo 1920 case had come out. The alleged Apollo 19 commander, Delta Moonwalker 1966 Delta, a former NASA astronaut who revealed his name to Luca through his contacts. He says, Luca says, I was not able to check his credentials, but the amount and the nature of the footage he spread on the internet are quite interesting. On YouTube, you can find his videos under Moonwalker 1966 Delta. The interview who granted to me in year 2008 is rich in details and helped Luca to find out that one of the two huge triangular-shaped objects resting on the far side of the moon, and mentioned by William Rutledge in his interview in the year 2007. This mysterious triangular-shaped object is near the cigar-shaped object. And what Luca was talking about with this is that he received further confirmation, remember we talked about this earlier in the video, of a woman that spotted this same object, the triangular-shaped object, in a Clementine, the probe that was sent up in 1994, that the Clementine took photos, which also gave further credence to this story as to the location of the triangular-shaped object on the far and dark side of the moon. Am I correct in what I'm saying, Luca?
I didn't hear very much well, but I think you are doing a great job.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to continue on with as much as we can. We've got 11 minutes remaining, but Apollo 19 incident and what happened in 1976. Moonwalker 1966 Delta on November 9, 2008, posted on YouTube an outstanding video of the Apollo 19 secret space mission, taken probably by chance inside the lunar module. On YouTube Moonwalker 1966 Delta had commented the video with the following words: Apollo 19 just hit by something and losing telemetry data, fire and smoke on ACBC cell bus and aborting mission after TLI insertion. But what can we say about the radio dialogue? He says, first of all, we have to say something about the presumed incident occurring to the Apollo 19 mission. According to the Apollo 19 commander, there was a light loss of gyroscopic inertial vector, a sudden breakdown of electrical power bus unit, and a complete loss of telemetry. The crew had smoke and light fire on the frontal panel, but they had been able to extinguish it very soon, and once they had electrical power again, they stopped the gyroscopic movement, and then they got help from Houston, where a couple of astronauts entered the simulator and told them what to do. And he just adds further information about this story. There's the testimony from Moonwalker Delta, and you can read the testimony from William Rutledge himself, which is very, very interesting. I would definitely advise you, the listening audience out there, to please go and look at an article by Luca Scantamburlo called An Alien Spaceship on the Moon, Interview with William Rutledge, member of the Apollo 20 crew. Because in this article, William Rutledge gives us much interesting information and talks about what they had found up there and how the Apollo 19 and 20 missions took place, which most people have no idea about. And what's interesting to me is that more people haven't jumped on this story. Luca, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
I want to ask you, sir, one last thing. Why do you think it is that the mainstream news, or even, other investigative journalists, are ignoring this story?
That's the right question. Hoagland was interviewed by Paula Harris. You know her? Then.
Paula Harris, yes. You had mentioned this to me, I think. Go ahead.
Yes, Paula Harris asked him something about Apollo 20 mission, the presumed secret mission. Richard Hoagland, former NASA collaborator, he worked in the field of communication, in the field of media communication inside NASA. Now he is an independent researcher and scholar. He's a very well-known and respected researcher. Do you agree with me, Zane?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The very strange thing is that Richard Hoagland always interested in anomalies in the solar system, structures
right.
on Jupiter satellites, Saturn satellites, structures on the Moon, structures on Mars. He wrote a book, Monuments of Mars, if I remember well.
Right.
He didn't say a single word about the nature of the huge cigar-shaped object, which is amazing. He didn't spend a single word on the nature of the object in the interview made by Paula Harris.
Did he just ignore the question?
He answered in a strange way. He said that in all this story, I'm trying to summarize, there are some codes, some secret messages. So he didn't ignore the story. He showed to be aware of the importance of the story, but it pointed out the certain aspect involving a sort of cryptic messages.
Right. Okay, Luca, you were cutting out again a little bit. I'm just going to summarize what he said. Richard Hoagland, who we all know, has been, part of the NASA team. He was the one that briefed the United Nations about the Cydonia monuments and the particular cities on Mars. Well, he was asked by Paula Harris in an interview what he thought of the Apollo 20 mission and the secret nature behind the Apollo 20 mission. And basically, he just skirted around the question and didn't address it, which seems kind of strange to me. In the last 5 minutes that we have, I'm going to read just a little bit from Luca's interview with William Rutledge so that this will pique your interest in this story and will ignite your curiosity so that hopefully you'll at least want to go out and do your own research on this story. But from the 16th question that he asked, William Rutledge, Luca asked, now we can discuss the ancient alien spaceship and the city on the far side of the moon. Did you go inside the spaceship? How big was it, and what did you find inside? William Rutledge, we went inside the big spaceship, also into a triangular one. The major parts of the exploration was the mothership, very old, who crossed the universe at least a milliard of years ago, 1.5 estimated. That's a 1.5, that's a long period of time. There were many signs of biology inside, old remains of vegetation in a motor section, special triangular rocks who emitted tears of a yellow liquid which has some special medical property, and of course, signs of extrasolar creatures. We found remains of little bodies, 10 centimeters, living in a network of glass tubes all along the ship. But the major discovery was 2 bodies, one intact. From question number 17, Luca asked, did you visit the city on the moon? Where was it? Did you understand if there was a connection with this cigar-shaped craft? And are the city and the ship still there? William Rutledge, the city was named on Earth and scheduled as Station 1, but it appeared to be a real space garbage full of scrap, gold parts, and only one construction seemed intact. We named it the Cathedral. We made shots of pieces of metal of every part wearing calligraphy exposed to the sun. The city seemed to be as old as the ship. Go ahead, Luca. Go ahead.
Sorry if I interrupt you. Then you can
No.
go ahead. I just want to say to the public, the video of the city is a fake. But inside the video of the city, which is a reconstruction with the Apollo 70 images, so the images are true, but they belong to a former mission, there is an audio. You can hear clearly David Scott's voice. David Scott is a famous astronaut, member of the Apollo 15 crew. And then you have the name of the Scott in the last part of, at the end of the first part of my interview with the Apollo 90 commander. So I think that the video of the city, which is a fake, has important information. There is a sort of message, a cryptic message. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we have only 35 seconds left. I'd like to thank you, Luca, for joining us, and I'd like to thank the listening audience from America and across the world for joining us. Please come back and listen to further revelations and interviews on stories such as this at fallenangels.tv. God bless you, Luca. We pray for your protection, and we will talk to you in about a month or so.
Okay, thank you very much. God bless you and all the Americans.
All right, you too, Luca. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.